today I'm actually recording on the T6i, the Canon T6i. This is not my normal camera, however, it is a great camera. I really do enjoy using this camera. This is Janet's camera, my wife's. Today I wanted to go over what is in my bag for 2018. There's been a lot of changes that has happened in my bag. I used to have like 6 camera bodies. Now I've condensed them down to just one body and a point and shoot spare. But yeah, I wanted to go over my total amount of stuff that I have here today. Nothing huge, nothing major. I just wanted to show you guys what I use, why I use it, and when I use it. Now, if you guys didn't know, I recently shot some video at one of the restaurants here in Charlotte called Oku. If you haven't checked it out, go and check out the video that I did. It's in the link in the right here. Before we get started, I want to let you guys know, yes, I saw Peter's What's in My Bag video, and I know I'm doing the same thing. However, I'm going to do it a little bit different. It's not going to be the same look. I have pretty much nothing that is the same that he has. I just think it was a great idea for him to do that, and I'm going to do it as well. Okay, so without further ado, let's go ahead and get this thing started. So the first thing, one of my favorite things that I have, and I cannot continually tell you guys how much I love this thing. This is the Joby GorillaPod Focus. It is a really nice tripod. That's all I have to say about it. Super durable, very strong. It actually, I haven't really had issues with the legs not going in correctly. It always stays upright. I've never had issues where it's not working or staying upright. So I don't know where that came into play for some people, especially Casey Neistat, where he drops his camera. I've never really had issues with it. It works really nice. I actually have the focus as well as the SLR zoom on the Canon T6i right now. Great tripods. If you haven't got one, check it out. The SLR zoom is good, but this one has the metal tripod head, so it gives you a little sturdier feeling, and it feels really heavy, so you know you get something that's high quality. Now, you can't really talk about with the tripod without going with the actual camera body itself. This is the Canon 70D. This has been my main camera for the longest time. I think since I started the channel, I've always wanted one of these. I actually got it midway through, and it's really nice camera. It's got the flip out screen, it's got the lens, it's got the built-in flash, it's got all the features that you need of a professional style camera without the expensive 5D Mark III or 4 price tag. Another thing, if you're gonna be doing vlogging with any type of camera from Canon, you definitely wanna get a 10 to 18 millimeter lens. This lens right here is gonna be your wide angle lens. Let me focus in. I don't know why it's not focusing. Anyways, this is a 10 to 18 lens. It is a super wide angle lens. That way, whenever you need to, you can widen it up a little bit, or you can zoom it in for a closer look. Highly recommended if you don't have one of these for a Canon camera, get it. If you need a lens for your Sonys or your Panasonics, possibly look into and getting an adapter and using one of these. This lens is probably 200 bucks on the market. You can probably get it for cheaper to use. Really nice lens. Has a built-in stabilizer. It's got the autofocus and manual focus, and it's STM, so it means that it's really quiet. One of my favorite lenses that I use for photography, it's super cheap. It does really good bokeh background effect where it blurs out the background, and it also works really well for video, is the 50 millimeter lens. This right here is a f1.8 lens with STM. STM, for me, it just means it's quiet. So if you need to know what that means, if you're looking for something that's quiet for video, look into STM lenses. This is gonna give you a great quality video without the noise of the focus motors. Yeah, this is super nice. If you're gonna start out with photography and you don't know which lens to get, check this one out. It's really nice. I love this lens so much. I use it to the moon and back. It's never let me down. The autofocus is great. The overall contrast and the lighting that it lets in is amazing. Really nice lens. It has a metal base on it. It's really high quality. So my body is actually waterproof or weatherproof, so that actually works really well together with it. Now, if you don't want a prime lens like this one here where it doesn't zoom in, it just stays in a focused focal length, which is how far something is zoomed in and out, nothing major, and you want to get something with zoom and a pretty good autofocus, this is the 18 to 135 millimeter. This came with a lot of the cameras that came with Canon's kits. This is a really nice lens. It's got really good autofocus. It has a metal base on it, and it also has a really nice zoom. Check that out. So if you want to have somewhat wide angle with the 18 millimeter, you can, but if you need to get closer shots to somebody and they're farther away, you can just zoom in and get those shots when and if you need to. This can be used for video as well as photography. It's got really good glass on the front of it. You can really kit it out with different like hoods or other things. It's a really good lens. I really enjoy it. I'm a little disappointed with this lens though, however, it does not have the STM. So if I'm using it for video, sometimes you can hear it if I use the autofocus. They do have STM versions of this, but that's not what I have right now because it's a little bit more expensive. This ranges from $100 to lower, depending on how you get it. The next thing I have, which I think every photographer should have, is the battery grip for your Canon camera. I really don't use this that often, however, it's something that I think that every photographer and videographer should have if they're in an environment where they're gonna need a battery for a very long time. This allows you to put 2 batteries inside the camera and lock it in place. And you go ahead and pull off your battery on the camera, like so, and the flip comes out like that. Once you do that, you just click it on in and you twist it on tight. Now, what you have here is a 1DX size camera with a really good battery. The cool thing about it also is when you flip it, you have this little button here, so you can use all your functions sideways as well as this way. So it's really good for photography. If you want to use it for video, I think it's a good thing to have also because it has a good amount of balance on the bottom of the camera, so you can actually get really stable shots. I cannot talk about the 70D without talking about the microphone. The microphone I use all the time, I should probably look into getting a better one, but I really just enjoy this one so much, is the Rode VideoMicro. I purchased this one a while back for about $40 on eBay used. It's really been a great microphone. I haven't had any issues with it. The only downside I can say about this is sometimes it picks up too much audio, it picks up too much around it, and I'd rather have it directional. However, as a vlogger, you want to get everywhere the audio is, because sometimes I'll be behind the camera, sometimes I'll be in front. It just depends where I'm located at. All right, now next off, if you don't have one of these in your bag, you definitely need to. You need a lens cap, and that the lens cap itself is also congruent with the lens back cap. You need both of these in your bag to cover your front and the back of your lens, so you don't get your glass scratched. If you scratch your glass, it's gonna be a pain in the butt for your videos. Sometimes I've actually got a lot of dust on here because I don't know how I got dust in there, but I did. The dust will get in there and you'll think it looks great in the camera when you look in here, but when you actually load it on the editing software itself, you get a lot of fuzziness. So if you don't, make sure you're looking to get the front cap and the back cap for your camera because it's highly important for you to keep these things safe. Now I can't talk about cameras without the battery charger. The battery charger for me is one of the most important things you can have. I actually got this one because I lost my battery charger while I was somewhere and I could not find one to work with my battery. This is actually a universal battery charger. It doesn't charge as fast as the stock one, and I'll show you that one in a second, but this is actually a multi-purpose charger. If you don't have one of these, check it out. It allows you to move the little pins on here, and you put your battery in, lock it in place, and you can charge it for just using a regular wall plug-in. This actually comes with European adapters, so if you're outside of the US, you actually have the charger adapters for it. Just in a tight spot, it's nice to have this thing. I love it, it works great. Okay, now I have the Canon 70D, however, sometimes I do need a backup, and this little guy right here tends to do the job pretty well. This is the Canon ELPH 330HS. It shoots 1080p. Has some pretty cool little features built into it that I don't use. It's got slow-mo, it's got like cool color picture profiles. It actually picks up audio really well. The 1080p on it is really good. The wide angle on it when you're looking at it is actually about as good as the lens right here. I'm really surprised. The only downside to this thing is that it really doesn't do well in low light. So I don't use it as much, but I could if I wanted to. The video quality on it is pretty good. And if you don't want to start out with YouTube and you want to get a camera just starting out, I highly recommend just checking out one of these. You can probably get them for $100 on eBay, and your video quality can probably look as good as this right here on the T6i. Now most of you probably don't need or will ever use one of these, but I try to keep one of these in my bag at all times. This is the GoPro. I like to use this really in situations where I don't want to destroy my camera. If I got like a skateboard thing going, or I don't want to do like a cannonball into some water, or want to take the kids to the beach, I'll bring this guy along and use it instead of my DSLR or my point and shoot, because it keeps all my stuff safe and without harm. So I think this is a good one to have. If you don't have it, check it out. They also have other non-GoPro types that you can get for pretty cheap, like the Yi or the One Reel camera. Check those out. Let me know what you guys think. Now the biggest thing that you need to have, this is like the most important thing, and I can't stress this enough, is you need to have batteries. I have like so many batteries at my disposal right now that I use every single time, especially when I was shooting that sushi video vlog. I had these in my bag. Now these right here are very important because there'll be times where you just don't want to go back and charge your battery. You need something to hot swap in. These things are important to have. If you do get batteries, like spare batteries, I highly recommend you check out this brand. This is the Power Extra. These are lithium ion batteries. They last a lot longer than my original stock Canon batteries. Sometimes you do get like a little error on them when you load them into your camera, but you can usually bypass them, or you can look into getting ones that don't have that error pop up. Now, another big one that you need to have in your bag, and I highly recommend this as well, is to have a light. This is a portable light. This is the one that I did my review on. This is the L116T. It's a really nice light. It does really good. The battery on it lasts a long time. I picked up 2 of these batteries. These are these Sony type batteries. It has adjustable settings on it. You can adjust the brightness of it. Right now it's at 20%, but if you turn this little knob, it gets slightly brighter as you go. You can also change the color of it to a more yellow color or a bluish color. So it's a pretty cool light, and you can use it to adjust the color of any situation. I think you definitely need to check out getting one of these. The good thing about it is it's really not that heavy, and it doesn't take up that much space, so it's really not that big a deal to put in your book bag. Big important one to have: chargers for your phone, as well as Android and mini USBs. I try to keep as many of these in my book bag as possible. I actually keep 2 power adapters and 2 Android and 2 iPhone chargers because I have both devices. Definitely check out getting one of those, because I've been in situations where I use my phone for my video and my camera's been about dead every single time. If you don't have one, definitely look into getting one. That also brings up another point. If you don't have a portable battery charger, look into getting one of those also. They're like $5 at Walmart. They could save your life if you're shooting video. Now me, I'm super lazy. I don't have a cool SD sorting thing. I just use my lens container. If you don't have one of these, definitely look into getting one. This way you don't lose your SD cards. I can't tell you how many times I took stuff out of my book bag and I lost my SD cards because they're in there with them. I've pulled the straps out, the SD card comes with it, and then you have a bad day ahead of you. I try to keep all my SD cards stored in a closed container, and this way I can kind of label it and know what it is. This is probably your biggest tool if you're on the spot. If you need to write stuff down, if you don't have a phone or your battery's dead, your pen is your best friend for writing notes. I actually use a pen to write my scenes before I record them. If I got an idea, I'll write it down on my hand and save it for later. Definitely bring a pen with you no matter where you go. You can always save yourself some time by not having to ramble in your pocket for your phone. You can just write it down as soon as you can. Now, most of you may not have these and you may not need it, but I like to keep these in my bag at all times. These are my business cards. And for me as a YouTuber, some people like to ask what I do and why I have a camera with me. So if they do ask me, I'll tell them that I'm a YouTuber, and I'll typically pass these out to them just to give them a link to my website, because sometimes me saying Dustin Vang or go check out youtube.com/Dustin Vang, it doesn't always work out. So if you don't have one of these, if you want to be able to spam other people or just be able to share with them what you do, check out getting one of these. In the previous video that I did, I actually did a video on making these for other YouTubers. So definitely check that out if you want to get some of these. I have links in that video. I'll probably put a link in the description or a link up here for you guys. I don't know. Now I did bring this one up earlier, the light. But if you don't have these are actually cool little clips. I use these for situations where I need to clip things together. Like the other day, I actually mounted this clip to this light, and I had a spot at the restaurant where I couldn't have a lot of light. The light wasn't really doing well. So I was able to clip this right there in front of me and turn on the light so that I had some light shining on me. So if you guys didn't notice that, check out that video. If you need the small one, you can, but you can also get the larger ones, which are pretty big as well. I use these a lot. These things are amazing. They're actually really cheap. You can go to Home Depot and Walmart. They all have them. They're really, really useful in certain situations. If you don't use them, it's okay, but if you ever do need them, you have them. So I highly recommend checking these out and getting those. Well, that is pretty much it for today, guys. I just wanted to go over my stuff in my bag for you. I know it's kind of long, I apologize, but I did want to share to you guys what exactly I use. I did want to talk to you about the camera situation. So in the past, I was on a binge of really going to like 4 different cameras. I started out with the EOS M. I wanted to get something better. I actually went to the T6i, and then since I had the T6i, I wanted a spare, so I went to a T3i for me. And then Janet wanted a camera, so I actually got her the T5i. At that point, I had the EOS M, the T3i, the T5i, the T6i, the 70D, and then I wanted a 4K camera. So at that point, I actually went out and got a Panasonic G7. Ugh. So there was a point in time where I had 6 cameras in my disposal, as well as the point and shoot, and it was just ridiculous. I didn't know which camera to use when. It was really just throwing me off. Sometimes I had cameras I didn't use. So I ended up selling all of them and just getting better gear. Like my lenses, I got a bunch of these instead, and I got my Joby pod, GorillaPod, better lighting, things like that. And I focused on using one camera, 3 lenses, and just learning how to use my camera better and getting better at my editing ability. So that's something that I developed over the year. If I can save you the time in doing so, I would love to just share with you guys that. If you want to get into vlogging, if you want to get into anything with videography, start out with one camera. You don't need more than one. Gear doesn't matter. You can start out with a point and shoot for all I care. I mean, the thing is amazing. It shoots really good video. It shoots 1080p. And you can do about as much with this thing as I do with my 70D. It's just certain situations I use these lenses a little bit more because of the effect that they have. But yeah, that's the what's in my bag for today, guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you have any questions on these, feel free to ask. I probably won't link these in the description because I don't know if you guys need or want these, but if you have questions, feel free to leave in the comments below. What are you guys using for your vlogging channel? I'm curious to know. I use pretty much everything here. I try not to use more than that, and I know it's a lot already, so it can be overwhelming if I add more to that. But yeah, that's it for today, guys. You guys have a great night. I'll see you guys next time in the vlog. Peace.